Hi everyone, my apologies for the late upload of this report. Let's get started. This is DevCom 208 Module 7 Part 2C, where we will be discussing Dr. Renee Wiener's work in research and evaluation, particularly the input process output outcome impact framework that she used for her presentation. This report is to enlighten us on what to measure when doing monitoring and evaluation and selecting indicators using the input process output outcome framework. Ultimately, this is to measure social and behavioral change inspired by different theories of social and behavioral change communication. First, let's get to know Dr. Wiener. She is a South African public health medicine specialist with postgraduate training in epidemiology. With over 2 decades of experience in public health research, management, and capacity building, she is director and co founder of Research and Training for Health and Development in 2016, a public health research organization. She worked in the academic, health services, and NGO sectors and has strong interest in maternal health, HIV prevention, and sexual and reproductive health and rights in South Africa. Dr. Wiener holds a visiting senior lecturer position at the Witt School of Public Health. She came up with a 38-slide report with the Seoul City Institute of Health and Development Communication, a multimedia health project in South Africa. In the PowerPoint, she discussed the background of Seoul City, the indicators they selected to measure, their approach to evaluation, and their issues and challenges. Before we look at the particulars of Dr. Wiener's report and what she has measured and evaluated, let's first see where this model came from. So in 1988, Mark Brown and Ray Svensson published an article in Research and Technology Management where they illustrated the research and development laboratory as a system, and they came up with this framework. You can see what goes under inputs, processing systems, output, and outcomes. Take a look at that first. All right. As per the article, Mark Brown is an associate with R.A. Svensson Associates. Um, he is a psychologist with valuable experience in measuring performance, while Ray Svensson, who is president of the R.A. Svensson and Associates as of the publication of the article, is an electrical engineer. To get us more acquainted with the model, here's another example. This one is from a website called The City Fix, mainly about urban sustainability and development. All right, so it briefly discusses the kind of indicators that we may be able to add to every element of the framework. So, for example, in input, you can put resources, the technical expertise, the relationships, processes, or its equivalent, let's say, in um, a campaign that aims to achieve behavioral change. Its equivalent. So, let's say process. You have hiring staff, purchasing equipment. Because this one deals with mainly infrastructure and urban living. However, let's say in a campaign that seeks to achieve behavioral change, we will find that later in Wiener's example. So just take a look at that to familiarize ourselves with this framework. So, yes, it's mainly about urban sustainability and development. Slide 7. Okay. Since our resource is Wiener's PowerPoint presentation, which are just the visuals, we unfortunately have no access to what she had to say alongside this. But let's analyze slides 13 to 15 of her presentation, where Okay. She said, what do we monitor and evaluate? Well, in this slide, she particularly mentioned reach. Yeah. The usual details such as age, sex, location, which nowadays are automatically embedded in platforms. Should we start a campaign? Okay. And of course, we need to consider the size of the group that we are evaluating. Are we measuring behavioral change of a society, of a community, or of an individual? On slide 9, we have two images. Okay, one is where she added the indicators uh, against, or she arranged the indicators against the elements of the framework by Brown and Svensson. And then the next one, where uh, she specified the details of every indicator that she has placed. So there you go, against the framework elements of Brown and Svensson. So here we can see that the indicators were not strictly limited to specific elements in the model slash framework, as both intervention and behaviors fall under multiple elements. Say knowledge, attitudes, and self efficacy fall under outcome. Self efficacy, or simply the belief in oneself. Yeah. The change of behaviors was measured and it fell under outcome and impact in the model. In her example, so the change of behavior was the percent of respondents who used the condom the last time they had intercourse. So that one is the image on the right. You can see that specifically under behaviors. Prevalence and incidence fall under impact. And in her example, that would be the measurement of HIV prevalence in pregnant women from ages 15 to 24 years old. Right. For my discussion question, right, using the framework of Brown and Svensson and quickly viewing the example of Wiener, think of an imaginary program you are to implement and what indicator would you measure under impact, and be as concise as possible. Here are my references. Thank you for viewing my presentation and have a good one.